All right. Iran is saying no tangible progress is being made in the peace talks as Hezbollah rejects the Israel-Lebanon truce. But President Trump says he's hearing something very different. Watch.
I will tell you, they called us and they said, how about stopping? And I think you're going to see things happen over there. That's been like a little bit of a different world, but it's interconnected with Iran. And it would be really nice if Lebanon could have some peace.
And the president was referring to Hezbollah called him, but they don't want peace. Let's bring in four-star general, Fox News senior strategic analyst and chairman of the Institute of Study of War, General Jack Keane. General, it looks like the whole thing is stalled, any of these peace talks. We're now in our 8th week. Where do you think of a ceasefire? It's supposed to be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, first of all, let's just start with the fact that in close to 50 years, only one president has taken consequential action against Iran and their predator behavior in the region, and that's President Trump, obviously. 5 weeks of epic fury and a naval blockade has devastated this regime militarily and economically. But they're down, and they're not out. And the truth is, they suggested we go into this diplomatic mode because when they shut down the Straits of Hormuz, they said we can work out a deal and we'll open it up in 2 weeks. Well, here we are 8 weeks later. They've never opened it up. And they keep kicking out the idea that we can make a deal. And I think we have to accept the reality that that's just not going to happen. They have one motive in mind here: stretch out negotiations as much as possible, get as close to the political situation in terms of midterm elections, and there will be less likelihood that President Trump would ever pull the trigger and go back to military operations. I believe that is their unstated strategy, their public strategy. Oh, we're going to make a deal. We're interested in making one. I think we have to accept after 8 weeks, this is really not going to happen. And even if we did make a deal, we can't throw them a financial lifeline that'll help them to recover financially, because then they'll be systematically, in time, reverse everything that they signed on a dotted line saying they would do. And we know that, because they've always cheated in the past and they'll cheat in the future. I think we've got to come to the reality that we have to return to military operations. When we stopped, we had about 2 weeks left. And the IDF and Central Command believes they have 10 to 14 days left to be able to finish offensive operations that were assigned to them. And now we actually have more targets. And the reason is because we've been monitoring them for 8 weeks. We have lots of intelligence. And obviously, they've been recovering their military capability during these 8 weeks as well. But we've been monitoring that. So what I'm suggesting is, if we go back to military operations, and I believe that's the preferred option, I think we should return to full combat operations. There's going to be suggestions we just do a limited operation or a small operation to kind of get their attention. And here's the caution. The caution is Iran's going to retaliate regardless of whether we go small or go big. Let's go big, take down as much of their capabilities we possibly can, and get these guys as close to collapse as a military operation can possibly achieve. And then with economic pressure, we can put this regime truly on a pathway to collapse. I think that is the best option in front of us.
General, from everything I've read and from what we've seen, I think it's the only option. The other thing that you've been monitoring close, and I always read the Institute of Study of War every single day. It comes out 2 or 3 times a day on all the hot spots in the world. And what Ukraine is doing is the most underreported, fantastic story in the world today. And now President Zelensky, in an open letter to Vladimir Putin, proposes a face-to-face meeting for a full ceasefire as Russia continues to go after civilian targets because they can't hurt the military. Your thoughts about a one-on-one meeting, and maybe you should tell our audience how effective Ukraine has been.
Yeah, well, there's been a major turnaround in the war. Russia has started their spring and summer offensive, and it has failed miserably. They are losing more territory than they have the ability to take, and that means that Ukraine is on the offense and is retaking territory. They've actually also, despite the dominance of drone warfare, which led to positional warfare on the ground as a result of it, no operational maneuver, no tanks, no fighting vehicles, Ukraine has returned to tactical maneuver. They figured out how to suppress Ukraine's drones at the same time maneuver with those tanks supported by artillery and supported by drones, and obviously infantry on the ground. So the war has changed. And for the first time ever, Putin cannot replace the number of casualties he's taken. In other words, he's taken more casualties than he has people to replace them. And obviously that's diminishing returns. And he's in a bind. And economically, he's hurting despite all of the bluster that they have at the St. Petersburg Economic Conference just held recently, telling the world what kind of great shape they are. It's just a bunch of hooey saying they've had 10% growth and they're solid economically. Quite the opposite is taking place here. So Ukraine has a momentum in the war. It's turned around completely. So this false narrative that Russia's winning the war, let's put that aside. It never was the case, and it surely is not the case now. The advantage and momentum is on the side of Ukraine. Russia is using attacks on civilian populations to deflect and diffuse the international public's awareness of what is actually happening on the ground. And the principal thing they're using to hurt the population is ballistic missiles. And they're doing that because they know Ukraine has a shortage of intercepts in doing that. These, particularly the PAC-3 Patriot intercepts. They fly hundreds of drones at Ukraine. Ukraine takes down 90% of them. Ballistic missiles, 15 to 20% only. The rest are getting through. And some of that obviously is hitting the target. Some miss the target. But the reality is they need intercepts. And what Ukraine is offering, give us the licensing rights to manufacture these PAC-3 intercepts ourselves. They've already made long-range missiles, offensive missiles. They want to build defensive missiles. So we don't need Raytheon or Lockheed Martin to build them for them. They can do it themselves. Just give them the licensing rights. I suggest Ukraine turn back 25% to the United States as a result of the deal, and they keep 75%. This is a no-brainer solution.
Yep.
Let's just get on with it. And it's about Ukraine helping themselves here. And taxpayer, no exchange whatsoever. Ukraine can take care of this. That's other things we need to do. Certainly upgun them through NATO on the other things that they need, and hit them hard with sanctions. We got Russia taking a knee here. Let's really punish them.
I hear you. General Jack Keane, give them the licenses and let them win. They are the good guys in this. And Putin is losing. He's losing support amongst his own elites, too. General Jack Keane, thanks so much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.